Darren Rovell, the Action Network. Darren's been covering the athletes and their name, image, and likeness longer than anybody in the business. So we figured he'd be the right guy to talk to. This is Happy National Image and Likeness Day. Darren, how would you sum up what has happened so far?
Well, I guess in the first, since 12 midnight, Dan, it seems like it's been a little bit of a wild, wild west with athletes just signing deals with sports bars. My favorite was Jordan Bohannon of Iowa doing an autograph signing at a fireworks place today. Uh, yeah, no, it's going to be a cash grab. The problem is, there is still some compliance here. The people are going to have to check with their compliance departments and make sure they're not breaking rules. There are rules that are still in place here, Dan. So people who have social media followings, huge social media followings, are expected to cash in. And we're just going to have to see if this is just fool's gold or if there's some real money to be made by a bunch of people.
You just tweeted that the one of my favorite college players, Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback at LSU, has signed with a sports bar that has 19 locations within Louisiana, like an ambassador for a sports bar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are like typical endorsement deals. I think where people have not taken into account, they think about Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma. They think about Sam Howell at UNC. They think about the quarterbacks, the running backs, all the guys who are lined up for the Heisman and say these guys will make money. I made a list of 20 people yesterday, and half of them were women. Volleyball players, Alana Walker, Antoine Walker's daughter, the Cavender twins, the twins who are on the Fresno State basketball team. There's a girl named Olivia Dunn, who's a gymnast at LSU, who's expected to sign more than $1 million worth of deals today. She has a TikTok following of 3.9 million people. So it's not only just athletes who are using sport to get the endorsement, it's also people who happen to be athletes who've used their stage to become influencers and now can take money.
But you start to look at this, and I'm guessing universities are hiring compliance officers or people who can help the athletes, business managers. Can an athlete hire an agent? Can you have an agent that is helping you with endorsements?
Yeah, athletes can do that. There is a fine line here, obviously. Most of them right now are pretty much operating through direct message on Instagram. There are standard booster rules, obviously. A lot of people say, oh, this is going to be the way to cheat, an inducement to be recruited. I'll do an autograph signing after you sign. You'll do 5,000 pieces, or you'll do one piece for me, and I'll pay you $500,000. The one thing that's so crazy about this, Dan, is that the NCAA has not had any rules as far as what is the price that should be. Like, if this person has this many followers, this is the price that it should be in this range. If not, it's got to be double or triple checked. There is no one on the NCAA side or anyone who the NCAA has hired who are checking these things. It's all up to the schools. And then one more thing with the schools: what happens if Derek Stingley Jr. signs with walk-ons, but the main sponsorship with LSU is their competitor? I expect that to happen a lot now, right? Like, we can pay less. LSU's wanting this. We want to ambush the official sponsor because, we're their competitor. I can see that happening.
What about high school athletes?
It's really once you sign, that's the rule. But then the question is, are guys going to sign earlier? For example, Arch Manning. I mean, Arch Manning, I could see could make $10 million as a freshman in college. Everyone who had Peyton and Eli are going to want to sign him. There's no one really now coming up that, like, you see, he's the guy. When you say who's the guy who is going to go to college and just blow this thing up, that's the guy who I think of. So, but he's got 2 years to go. The question is, and there's still a lot of questions here, if he commits to a school, does that start the timeline?
Is there going to be a salary cap?
They're not going to cap anything. So they're not allowed to. The NCAA just had a case that they lost, where they're just going to be really sensitive to capping everything. I mean, the question is going to be, how much are the schools going to help out the kids? There's one thing that's kind of the elephant in the room here is, when I'm talking about name, image, and likeness, and I've been covering this since at least 2000, it's always jersey sales. I'm a fan. I want the name on the back of the jersey, but it's just always this weird thing where they have the number, you know who it is, that's why you're buying it, but it doesn't have the guy's name on the back. Jerseys are not in this conversation because it requires a business deal between the player and the school, and that's down the road. You're not allowed to use any of the school's trademarks or logos with anything you sell. Derek Stingley cannot appear in an LSU jersey in a commercial for walk-ons. You can, I believe, have autograph signings, and the Texas quarterback can sign a Longhorns helmet, but he can't create anything, and you don't automatically get the trademarks of the schools. There is so much to learn here, and I think there's a lot of concerns, I think, too. The IRS has not ruled at all on this. Does this make athletes employees? And all of a sudden, is their education taxable? I mean, there are a lot of questions here that have not been answered.
Who do you think is the most marketable college athlete in the past that, had this been in place when they were in college, who could have capitalized?
No question, Tebow.
Yeah, that's what
I would say it goes. I would say it goes Tebow, Bush, Manziel. Those would be my top three. But Tebow sold so many jerseys. He would be the example. I mean, he would have made on a jersey deal. He would have made $100,000 easy on jerseys. He's the best-selling college jersey of all time.
Who's second?
I would probably say, I mean, Bush probably was there, although obviously that was like 2005, so it was a different era. But I would say probably Bush would be number two, because basketball jerseys don't sell the same amount as football jerseys do.
Talking to Darren Rovell, the action.
Well, my wife calling me. She's in the kitchen.
Yeah. Tell her you're on TV right now.
Yeah.
You can text her. It's also Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. You've been covering this story for a long, long time. Bobby Bonilla, the former New York Met. So he gets paid, what, $1.1 million?
$1,119,248.20.
Every July 1st.
Every July 1st. So the deal was the Mets didn't want to pay him in 2000. He had $5.9 million owed. They gave him 8% interest a year starting in 2010 to pay him for the next 25 years. So today is the 11th installment of that deal. He'll get paid till 2035.
I'm going to guess that was a bad deal by the Mets, Darren.
Well, if you think about it, at the time they had a financial advisor named Bernie Madoff, who was getting them 10 to 15% a year.
Of course.
So in retrospect, that seemed all right. The question is, we had fun today. Everyone says, hey, that's the greatest deal for Bobby Bonilla. If Bobby Bonilla took and obviously I'm just being a jerk here, but if Bobby Bonilla took the $5.9 million and he put it into Amazon stock on the day the deal was structured, he would have $220 million today. Now, he could have also put that into pets.com, which 8 months later went bankrupt and was worth zero, but just to have fun.
Thank you, Darren.
You got it.
All right. That's Darren Rovell, the Action Network. Can now answer the phone call from his wife.